Hello everyone, my name's Liz and I'm so excited to share with you guys my Valentine's Hot Cocoa Bar setup, so let's jump in right into the video. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple little DIYs to go along with my hot cocoa bar setup. For this first one, I'm going to take this wood sign that I got from the Dollar Tree and I cut them down to fit this little tray. I wanted this tray to be taller, so I cut those down to be able to glue onto the bottom of that. And I'm just going to start by painting all these with my Waverly chalk paint in white. And I'm going to give the blue pieces about 2 coats to get that blue nice and covered. And then for the tray, I'm just going to give it 1 good coat. I wasn't too worried about having some spots of the natural wood showing through here and there. I am going to distress it, so 1 coat is all you need. I'm going to take these little crates that you can also get from the Dollar Tree and I'm also going to give those a coat of white paint. I wanted my hot cocoa bar to have multiple heights rather than everything just on the same level. I feel like when you're decorating like this, having multiple heights is definitely a must. So after I've gotten all those pieces painted white, I'm going to go in with my mineral chalk paint from Waverly, and that's what I'm going to use to distress all of these pieces. I'm just going to use a dry brushing technique, making sure to hit all the edges, and then whatever is left on my brush, I drag throughout each side, and I am going to distress the inside and the outside of all of my pieces. And then I'm also going to distress those little blocks that are going to go on the bottom of my tray. I just wanted to make sure everything matched and everything was cohesive. And my idea for this was I love the light pinks and little pops of red when it comes to Valentine's decor, but I wanted the majority of this to be very neutral, very farmhouse. So that is why I went with the white and then the mineral distressing. I just thought that this was the perfect way to display my little hot cocoa bar with mostly neutral colors, and then with those pops of pink and red from the candy and the little pops of ribbon here and there. And then plus you can take these and use it for other little hot cocoa bars, maybe for Christmas or really whatever else that you have that you're wanting to display. You can use it for multiple different seasons rather than just Valentine's. And then once I have all of those distressed, I'm going to take some sandpaper. I'm going to go over all of my pieces. I'm wanting to blend that mineral and that white together, make it not look super harsh. And now I'm going to attach the little legs to my tray. I'm going to take some clear wood glue and some hot glue, and I am going to put those onto the bottom of my tray. And then I'm going to hot glue those 2 little crates together. If you guys are new, hey, my name's Liz and I love everything DIY and crafting. If that's something that you enjoy as well, consider subscribing to my channel and joining my little crafting family. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, where you can see all the other projects that I am making, as well as shop my decals on my Facebook shop. And now for these next pieces, I grabbed these 3 little vases from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start with one and I'm going to take some twine and wrap it around that vase. I'm just going to start by tying a knot around it to keep it in place, and then wrapping that twine around the middle just a couple of times, and then tying a double knot and cutting off the excess twine. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other 2, but I'm going to use this red and white baker's twine. You can find some of this at the Dollar Tree. This one specifically I got off of Amazon when I purchased some wood rounds, but Dollar Tree does as well carry this red and white baker's twine. For my twine vase, I'm going to make a little twine bow. I just wrapped the twine around my fingers a couple of times, and then I'm going to take an excess piece of twine and tie a knot in the middle. Now I'm just going to add some hot glue to that bow and hot glue it down to my vase, and then I'll cut off the excess twine. Now I have these little wood rounds that I got from Hobby Lobby during the Christmas season. I wanted to use these as little tags for my vases, so I designed these little tags on my computer and I printed these out. I will have them linked down in the description box for a free printable for all of you if you want to use them. And I'm just going to trace out the size that I need, and I'm going to cut each little label out. Now I did print these out on label paper, so they have a sticky backing. You don't necessarily have to do this. This is honestly the only kind of printer paper that I had at the moment, but you can just use regular printer paper and Mod Podge them onto a little tag. I did use my little crafting knife to cut out the hole at the top so that I could string my twine and string through. Now for any of the paper that's going over the edge of your little tag, you can take some sandpaper and run it over that, and it will take the excess paper off and it leaves a really clean and smooth edge. Now I'm going to take some of that baker's twine again, and I'm just going to string that through the little tag. I'm going to wrap it around my jar that had the baker's twine on it, and then I'm just going to tie a little knot in the front to hold that tag in place. And I'm going to do that for all 3 of my jars, using the baker's twine with the baker's twine jar, and then using some twine for the twine one. Now I wanted to make a little menu sign, so I got this sign from the Dollar Tree. It had this little blessed piece on it. I just popped that right off, set aside to use in another project. So I first started by painting the entire backing black. I wanted it to be like a little chalkboard, but when I was all said and done with this sign, it just did not turn out the way that I wanted it to. My freehand and handwriting is not the best, and so I tried my hardest to make it look as cute as I possibly could, but in the end, it just did not look good. So I decided to go into my computer and to make myself a printable to put on the back of this sign, and I thought it turned out much better than the way that I hand wrote it on here. The words were going sideways, and it wasn't looking the best. So if you have good handwriting, by all means, just paint the back black and write the words on for yourself. If not, I'm going to link that free printable down in the description box for you so that you can put this on a sign. So to do that, I just took my sign apart. It did have little tiny nails inside of there, so I was able to just pop the back off, and then I was able to just take those nails out, and then I used a glue stick to add my printable onto the sign. Now, I did print this on a piece of scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, so your back doesn't necessarily need to look like this. You can have it just on a white piece of paper, or really whatever kind of paper that you want to print it on. I added some hot glue to my sign, and then I just attached the back of the sign to the frame. And that is it for this super cute menu sign. Now for this last DIY, I'm going to take some white spray paint, and I'm going to take these 2 candle holder pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to spray paint both of these white. Once those were all dry, I'm going to take my mineral color chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm going to go over all the grooves and edges on both of these pieces, and then I'm going to take my finger and kind of smudge that paint around. I wanted all of those edges to stand out to give it a little bit more dimension, so it wasn't just a flat white color. If you wanted to leave it the flat white, you definitely could. It gives a really pretty Valentine vibe, just all white, but I wanted this to stand out just a little bit more, so that is why I added the mineral chalk paint to it. Once I had all that dry, I'm going to take some clear glue and I am going to glue those two pieces together. Now it's time to set up my little hot cocoa bar. So I'm going to take that raised tray and put it in the back, and I'm going to take my two crates and set that right in front of it. It's going to hide those little legs, and then I'm going to take my little vases and add those to that raised tray. Now I'm just going to go through and kind of place things where I want them. All of the little glass pieces are from the Dollar Tree. That heart candy dish and these two square dishes are also from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start by adding my hot chocolate to my first little vase. It was a little tricky getting it in there, so I ended up rolling up a piece of paper and kind of doing a funnel. If you already have one, by all means use that, but this was the way that I did it. I did get the hot chocolate with the little mini marshmallows because I thought that it would look so cute in this jar. I grabbed some mini marshmallows and I'm going to add that into one of my vases. And then I grabbed some mini chocolate chips and I added that to my last vase. I'm going to take some ribbon that you can find from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to wrap that around both of these square little jars. I wanted to have a pop of red and pink in here, so I just tied this around those jars and then tied a little bow and dovetailed the tails. I'm going to add some Valentine's M&Ms into one of those jars. I'm going to add these cute little heart candies into my heart candy dish. I grabbed some little heart candies that you can get from the Dollar Tree and added them into my other square jar. I got these little buckets from the Dollar Tree as well, and I filled them both with some heart candies and some kisses. Now you may have to go to a different store to buy all the candy. I did go to Walmart and pick up the majority of the candy there because my Dollar Tree didn't have all the candies that I wanted, and I wanted to have the candies that were pink and red and white so that they were all Valentine's colors. For my little baskets up front, I added some peppermints to one side, and then to the other side, I added some heart Reese's. These are my absolute favorite candies, and one of these in a hot chocolate would just be the perfect peanut butter touch. Now I got these little wooden hearts from the Dollar Tree. They're just little wooden stickers. I added some Mod Podge onto the front of them so that I could write on them without the ink bleeding, and I just wrote peppermint on one and peanut butter on the other, and then just stuck those right to the front of those little crates. For my white tray, I added some fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, and of course you gotta move them all around until you have them in the exact right spot to make them look visually appealing, so I just decorated that little tray with those. I placed my little mugs that I also got from the Dollar Tree that I added one of my vinyl decals to, and where I wanted them, and that is it for this super adorable Valentine's Hot Cocoa Bar.
I was at the wrong place at the right time, 'cause suddenly there you were with those bright blue eyes. We were conversing under the night sky when you took my hand, said let's leave now. Don't wanna be shy, I will let my guard down. Don't wanna be shy, I will let my guard down. I wanna love out small bar with neon lights. Talked about everything.
That's it for today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I think this is so much fun to do, and it just makes my house feel so much more cozy and warm. It's just that sitting in front of a fireplace and a movie and drinking your hot chocolate, it makes me happy. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!